In previous chapters, we looked at how many times the Ghats were destroyed and pulled back up from the rubble. But today, the sheer speed of development is moving faster than the history it is trying to house. The Kashi Vishwanath Dham corridor is the largest manifestation of this. Completed in 2021, it spans 500,000 square feet of temples, plazas, and museums, carving a wide paved path straight from the main temple complex to the edge of the Ganges. This graph shows the sheer volume of visitors the city now absorbs. Varanasi currently receives between 70 and 80 million people every year. To put that in perspective, the local infrastructure is being re-engineered to handle a human tide that was unimaginable even a decade ago. That tide brings airport expansions, heavy international investment, and a level of global visibility that has turned the riverfront into a construction zone of progress. This investment is necessary for a modern city to function. But it creates a specific friction. When an ancient place is smoothed over to accommodate millions, the very details that make it real risk being polished away. You can see that friction in the narrowest lanes. Medieval alleys built for foot traffic now feel the weight of massive flyovers and concrete bypasses pressing against their edges. This pressure is most visible in the workshops of 15,000 Banarasi silk weaving families. They have spent 3,000 years working these wooden looms by hand, creating the fabric that defines the city's cultural status. This comparison shows why that heritage is fragile. A single hand-woven sari requires up to 15 days of manual labor. Competing against AI-generated patterns and machine-made imports means these families are working harder for less profit every year. The hands that wove the identity of Varanasi are currently the most vulnerable to the economic shifts happening around them. The idea that Varanasi is eternal is a myth that masks a reality of constant struggle. The city is being actively renegotiated by the people who live in it. The Ganges remains the center of this negotiation. While national programs like Namami Ganga have achieved measurable gains in water quality, the river is still taxed by the sheer volume of human activity. The river that has sustained the city for 5,000 years is visibly strained, waiting for a recovery that can keep pace with the city's growth. There is a risk that the massive influx of tourists will eventually prioritize a version of the city that is optimized for photography rather than the preservation of its difficult, living reality. Metro rails, smart city tech, and high-speed transit are all being planned for the next decade. These are tools for a future that is still being defined. The long-term survival of the city depends on whether the next generation views this history as their actual heritage or as a destination to be consumed. Varanasi persists as a 5,000-year-old argument. It makes the claim that even when a place is fragile and burdened by neglect, the choice to maintain it bridges the gap between ruins and the future. The city has weathered invasions, demolition, and the erosion of time. Each era brings a different threat to its existence. Its survival is not a miracle. It is the result of people repeatedly deciding that this specific place is worth the effort of rebuilding. This repetitive act of reconstruction demonstrates a human refusal to let a specific identity disappear. Every single morning, before the city fully wakes, a small oil lamp is lit at the edge of the Ganges. This act is not a legal requirement or a mandate. It exists because individuals have spent 5,000 years deciding that this specific light matters. Because of that unbroken chain of individual choices, the flame has remained lit. If this look at the changing face of India has added to your understanding, share this series. Subscribe to LifeRead to follow the stories of the world's oldest cities. Next, we head to Jaipur. It is famously known as the Pink City, but the history behind that color is far more complex than the tourism brochures suggest. Stay with us.